and we can.
Okay.
There we go.
Just tell me when.
Deep dive with Theresa King. And it's deep dive with Theresa King, the unlikely channeler is what I put on. And we can.
Okay. What was that?
That was me reverberating into the screen. And we have 4 people on already. So we are going to, there we go. So we are going to, guys, we are having a little bit of a weird thing going on here. I'm with Theresa King from out in Arizona. She calls herself the unlikely channeler. And we have been fighting with this technical stuff. We were not able to get her picture up. Y'all say hi if y'all are here. Make us feel a little better about struggling right here. But we're going to go ahead and do this interview because I feel like she has a lot to bring to the table, and probably some very good information that you guys, I think, would be interested in. So, hey, Janine, how are you doing? Janine Marcano. Hi, it's good to see you. Again, she calls herself the unlikely channeler. She channels through automatic writing and stuff like that. Hi, seriously, Jesse. It's good to see you. And we're on a little bit early. Hey, George, good to see you. We're on a little bit early because I have a personal reading scheduled for later that I kind of messed up my own calendar by scheduling it at this time. It's good. I'm glad to hear you're great, Janine. Hello, so sad for the technical stuff. We're here listening. Anyway, great. Thank you, Muna. I hope I said that right. So anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and let Theresa introduce herself. You'll see on the screen, well, maybe you will, maybe you won't. We have a little phone, a little symbol of a phone. That's where she's talking at. And then we've got her picture up, but y'all aren't seeing it. I'm not seeing it on the YouTube feed. So, but anyway, we're trying to get her. We're going to talk to her. We're just going to see what happens. Theresa, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Thank you very much for letting me be with you today. I really think it's going to be kind of fun.
I am excited.
Right now, yeah. Right now, I do 2 things. I do past life regressions with the QHHT method that Dolores Cannon created, and I do channeling spirit guides through automatic writing. Essentially, through my entire life as a young adult and now where I am, I've always searched out different ways to try to find clarification, get some direction in my life, kind of hoping to know what might happen, and enhancing the situation. I've studied tarot, oracle cards, numerology, handwriting, oils, herbs, stones, rocks, gems, dream interpretations, all the divination tools. And I really love it. And then in 2009, I made a major transition. I had followed Dolores Cannon for years. I started listening to her when she was on Art Bell's show at Coast to Coast AM. I mean, that was a long time ago, and she was doing EVP.
I was gonna say Art Bell, like, isn't that a very old show?
Yes, very old. But he would bring her on as a guest, and she did EVPs. And I think it was kind of introducing people in the 80s and 90s to, there's more than just you and me talking. There are other energies around. Anyway, and so I followed her, and then eventually I realized that she was teaching how to regress people, and she was also started having certification programs. And it's very expensive to do it, and I was not able to go to the state that she was in. I can't even remember where it is. Anyway, I studied her, and I finally applied, and they started to do the class online. And just as she was starting to do the class online, which I signed up for, she passed away.
Oh,
So
wow.
I still took the class, and I learned how to do it. And you have to do a number of them, to get good. And it's one of the most awesome things I've ever done. Right during that same time, I took a class on connecting with spirit guides. And so both of those came together at the same time. And so that's what I do right now. And both of them, in certain ways, give me answers, plus they also give a lot of other people answers to just the general things of everyday things that, you just want to know. You want to know about love. You want to know about money. You want to know about your career, your job, children. Some people are wondering about, will they be famous? And, you can study or delve into those things in more of this spirit on the other side of the veil, instead of just trying to do it always on this side.
So that's what I do. Okay, so hang on just a second, because I want to tell a few people hi here. We have a few more people in the room. Hi, S894. Hi, Crafty Shabby Shack Jude. Listen, guys, I just want y'all to know, Theresa is here. We're having trouble with her video. We talked about whether or not to actually come on, but I feel like she has some valuable information to offer y'all. So we went ahead and jumped on. I'm going to be having to jump off early because I have a personal reading scheduled. I messed up my calendar myself. That was my fault. But anyway, so I'm going to get right back to Theresa. So you said that, so they'll answer questions about love and money or do you want to be famous, all that stuff. Same thing as in like what I do with tarot, but with what I do, it's more about potential energies. Do you get more definite answers from the guides whenever you're visiting with somebody's guide for them?
Well, you get more specific. Yeah, the guides will absolutely give you specifics,
Wow.
A lot of times they're trying to teach you something. And so they won't give you the flat out answer. They'll lead you towards that answer. Just like tarot, just like oracles. I mean, it really is very similar.
Right. I know sometimes in a personal reading, somebody will ask a yes or no question, and I almost always want to laugh before I even do it, because it seems like Spirit's always given a, well, we're not going to say yes or no. It's kind of like we're going to kind of give you the story or the storyline or whatever that we're trying to get you to understand or whatever. But yeah, they don't ever give like, yeah, oh yeah, you're going to be famous. They don't do that.
in 2 months.
Yeah.
No, yeah. But it's you do readings for individuals.
Yes.
And this is, both of them are individually directed. So the guides, they tell them what they need to know. And really, I think we talked about it earlier, that both of these things that I do, they both focus or, get to the point where they're taking you to the most appropriate time and place for you to learn either your lessons, learn your answers. And I think that's pretty curious, because like you said, am I going to be famous? Well, then they'll take you to an appropriate story or appropriate, in regression, they'll take you to a previous life that's going to help you understand what's going on in this life that you're saying, oh my gosh, I want to be famous. I want to be so famous. And then you'll go into a lifetime where you may have been famous and you decided in this life you didn't want to. Or in that previous life, you would see yourself in that life doing something for another famous person.
Right.
And then you relate it back to why you desire that so much, because of what you saw in that lifetime. So in QHHT, we take you into whatever life is most appropriate to get to your healing, get to your answers. And, that's what the direction is. And that's what the guides do, too.
Right.
It's really amazing.
So we're going to go back. S89 FAR. Thank you for being so active in here. I love that. Brown Eyes, can I get on a call? Yes, you can. Just email me at spiritmailtarot@gmail.com, and I will put your name in the hat for our Saturday morning roundtable. And Darren, thank you so much. That's very sweet of you to say. Okay, so back to these messages. So like in past life regression, for example, I have an unexplainable phobia of needles. Like I'm 55 years old, and if I have to give blood, I won't volunteer at the hospital because you have to take a flu shot to do that. And I'm scared to death of needles. Plus, I don't really believe in the flu shot, but that's just me personally. But so I keep thinking I had to have been executed by lethal injection or something in a past life, because I am so scared of them. But so what are the other than finding out things like that, what are the benefits of doing a past life regression?
Well, a lot of times people would go to Dolores Cannon because they had serious health issues. Really serious health issues. And so the benefit is that you want to find out, why is my liver not working, and whatever it is. And you go, before you go, you decide, you give the practitioner, me, a list of questions.
Okay.
Of the different things that you want to learn about. You want to learn about why you have a phobia of needles. You want to know why your liver isn't functioning right. So, and that makes you unhealthy here. Or the person has eczema. Okay. And so then you regress them and you go back to the most appropriate lifetime. And sometimes, if that's your question, hopefully that's the life you go into, because sometimes you don't necessarily go to that life.
Oh, wow.
But you go and it explains so that you can heal here. And so it's repeatedly in all of her regressions that she did in her lifetime. She created that whole, I think, sounds like she created that whole industry, because her and her husband were doing regressions a long time ago, 50 years ago.
Right.
And nobody was even knowing about that. And they fell into that, they just happened upon somebody that they had regressed, and they went into another life. But so the person that you've regressed has an issue with eczema. And in that previous lifetime, they see themselves burning, because I was saying that repeatedly, the issues that you're having in this lifetime, many of the people that she regressed, many of them, if they have eczema, they go back to a lifetime and they see themselves being burnt, or they see themselves, something happening to them that burned them. And it's really interesting, because as you go through the different cases, her daughter put a book together, and in that book, she lists the different things that almost everybody has. If they come in for liver issues, they go to a lifetime where it caused, they were stabbed in the back, right? It's really incredible. So then now they know, oh, I don't have to hold on to that anger anymore. They stabbed me in the liver, and I was so mad about it, I still hold on to that in this lifetime. Or I am so sad about something, I hold it in this lifetime.
So, okay.
It's the residual.
Now I'm going to interrupt
you.
The
residual. Yeah. And so then, since you know it, you know how to now get rid of it.
I was going to say, so if you were burned in a previous lifetime, and that's why this eczema is showing up, But now that you know, you can release the fear or the anger or whatever went with it, and the eczema goes away.
With her clients, they did.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the liver starts functioning.
Yeah. And the person gets healthy.
Wow.
And they live again. And
wow.
it's the residual energy that you hold that causes the issues here. So it would be interesting to, for you to find out why you have that fear.
Yeah. I would rather find out, why do I have a money block? That's what
and then he's like, yeah, that's what we all are. I want to know, why are we blocking that money energy?
Yeah. Okay, so I don't see any questions right now, but let's talk about, so that's a little bit on past life regression. I'd love to dig deep into it. If any of you guys have questions about that, let me know. But I want to talk about this channeling that you do, because I really feel like a lot of us, and we only have about 30 minutes because I'm gonna have to jump off early. But a lot of us journal a lot. Well, we're all, some of us have real good, solid spiritual practices. Some of us kind of go back and forth about different things that we're trying or whatever. But I know I get asked a lot, how do you connect with spirit? And what do you do to stay connected? So let's talk about that, and then the channeling part of how they channel through you.
Okay.
Wait. Whoa. Brown Eyes asked a question. She said, what about fear issues? I guess any fear issue could be found out why, if you go in with a general fear issue for a past life regression.
Yes.
How do you
because it takes, when you're regressed, it takes you to the most appropriate time and place to answer that issue.
Gotcha.
And then as you see the client, the person that's being regressed, they actually see themselves doing something. And then from there, you take them through their entire life, for instance. Most of the time, what you do is you do take them through their life. And then you ask them for their last day, when they pass away. You take them all the way to that point. You don't want to create fear in the person, the client, but you want to show that, you need a completion, and there's nothing to be afraid of because you're always protected. I mean, we put a white light of protection around everybody every single time, so we're protected. Everybody's protected. And then in the meantime, your guides are there protecting you also. So nothing bad is allowed to happen to you because you are being protected by your guides, by the white light, and by the practitioner, because we're trying to get you to find out what your answers are.
Right.
And, so then you take them to their last day. You don't have to stay in your body to die in that lifetime. You can go out and watch it.
Right.
And it's up to the person. That person, if they start getting scared, you say you can step out of that body and watch it. Then that's done, and it's almost, there's a peace. It's just interesting. I mean, the room changes. The energy in the room changes.
So and the fear dissipates?
No, well, it's more of a calmed energy in the room. And then you go, then we ask permission to contact their superconsciousness.
Right.
Their superconsciousness. And then from there you start investigating what was she learning or he learning from this experience. And they tell you, and you don't know what kind of questions to ask. In the training, I go by the script every single time. I read the script that Dolores Cannon does,
right.
exactly the way she does it. So, but after that, and you have to ask questions, then you're interacting with the super consciousness of that person. And you're trying to, what lessons did they learn? What is it that, what's the most important thing that they were learning in that lifetime? You just kind of focus on that, and then you go away from that, the super consciousness, and you investigate then another life, depending on the questions that are asked by the client.
Right.
So we just spend all that time looking at different things, and then of course we bring them out. You always have to. You can never leave them in that state. And basically, what we do is we take them into the theta state. It's the state that's just prior to sleep.
Right.
And when you are calm, you still hear things. You can still, if your eyes are open, you can still see things, but you don't care about that sound or that fire engine going by or the dog barking. You don't.
Right.
I mean, my experience was there was a dog outside of the room just wanting to get in. And honestly, it honestly doesn't. Because when she says it, you're like, oh, come on. But is it true? You just don't. Anyway.
Okay, so we have a couple questions. The girl who asked about fears, her particular fear is fear of being alone, but that obviously same process could be addressed during a past life regression. Somebody else asked, is this the same as old souls? And I'm not really sure what you mean, Crafty, by that. Is that the same as old souls? I think that would be the same as us visiting our old souls, or it's the same soul that travels from lifetime to lifetime, right?
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same soul that is you in every lifetime.
Okay, so
okay.
Okay, so Crafty, if you have, if there's some way you want to clarify that question, let me know, because I'm not really understanding what you mean. But also, then there's MJJ wants to know, does the same thing apply for choosing your parents? And I'm not sure where that question's coming from. Are you talking about, can we go back and see why we chose our parents? Oh.
Yes, you can. You absolutely can. Because some people don't have a good relationship with their parents, and some have excellent relationships with their parents. And they want to know why. And yes, you can take them back to that lifetime of what it was that happened. And yeah, you do. I believe you pick your own parents. The way the guides, these kind of interact, don't they? The way the guides, what they explain to me is that you pick everything. It's your, and QHHT, it's the same difference, but you pick your life and you pick prior to coming to the earth.
Right.
You pick the experiences that you want to experience. You pick the people that you want to experience that with. So that includes your parents, your siblings, the whole family, the other people that come into your life, the husbands and the wives and the lovers and the employees that you work with. All that is planned. Not necessarily every single person in the workplace, because that's a different story. But because you're trying to learn the lessons that you want to learn here.
Right.
And that's what you want to do. That's why we come, is to learn our lessons. So yeah, you do pick your parents, and in regression, you can go back to that lifetime, channeling the guides. They will give you that information also. You're not seeing it, you're hearing it or reading it from the writing, but with QHHT, you're actually seeing your life as a person. And that's kind of how I really started. I live in a remote area, and getting to a bunch of people on a routine basis is not easy from where I am. Right. And somebody asked me, can you do a spirit guide consultation instead of doing a QHHT? And I'm like, well, let's try it, and it actually worked, and it works really well. I don't even have to see the person. I mean, they're guides. Of course, I tell my guides what we need to do.
Right.
And then they start, helping.
Right.
So,
Muna, I'm sorry that you missed the introduction, and I'm just going to go ahead and give it again real quick. We are talking to Theresa King. She calls herself the Unlikely Chandler. She does channel spirit guides through automatic writing, and she practices QHHT, which is a quantum hypnotic healing therapy. Is that what it is? Quantum hypnotic healing?
Quantum healing hypnosis technique.
Okay. And that is it was originated by Dolores Cannon, who is really well known in this type of community, in the spiritual community. So if you haven't heard of her, read her, go look up on YouTube. She's got some lectures out there. She's no longer with us in this dimension, but also, okay, so past life regression therapy can be used for healing a lot of things, not just physical ailments, but also emotional things too. Hi, Carrie. It's good to see you. Dream Girl, nice to see you. Hi, Kit Kat. It's good to see y'all too. We're going to be jumping off early tonight, and I apologize for that, but I accidentally scheduled a reading for 7 o'clock, and I have to meditate before I actually do that reading because I do that all the time. So we're going to be jumping off at 6:30. I'm going to quit saying that because that takes up too much time. I want to know why I want to meet someone, a lover, and it didn't work out. I always know that I'm going to meet that name. So somebody, that's a very specific question to you, S894. And so we don't necessarily, okay, so let me ask it this way, because that would be a more general question. So what if there's a name, like I can remember actually whenever I was like 13 or 14 years old, like some name dropped into my experience, and I didn't know that there was no person by that name, and I kept thinking, oh, that's the love of my life, at a young age. That's who I'm going to marry, I guess, one day. Well, I've never even met the person, but why would a specific name be so prevalent in your mind like that?
Well, I don't know. But we could ask the guides, we could go in and say, what is that name? Maybe it was you in a previous life. That is something that we'd have to ask the guides. Your guide.
S89 far, maybe that was your name in a previous life. So that's really interesting to think about. Our topic tonight is, we're talking to Theresa King, who is the Unlikely Chandler, and she practices QHHT quantum healing hypnosis technique, and she does automatic writing. She channels spirit guides through automatic writing. So that's who we're talking to. And Carrie wants to know, how does it feel? Carrie, you're asking too many questions. How does it feel when you channel, and can we open up portals? That's a good question.
Oh, yeah, that's actually a really good question. I had a client that I was doing a QHHT, and she actually was at a portal. It was not just one, but several portals. And so, can we open them? We're capable of anything. We just think we're limited to a physical body. And what the guides constantly tell me and other clients is that you are a light being in a physical body. And you can do so much more than you think you can. You've got the mindset that you're constricted to a physical body. Even though you knew you were coming to a physical body prior to coming here, it's still hard to be that spirit in a body and be cramped, So how does it feel when I talk to the guides? Well, I would say for me personally, I have a technique that's like Cheryl lays down, and then she gets to theta, and that's where she gets her messages. That's where she interacts with her messages, right, Cheryl?
Right. When I meditate, I call myself the lazy meditator because I lay down.
Yeah. And my technique is, everybody teaches walk up steps and, get into whatever. And all of a sudden, the gal that was teaching me, she kept teaching us walk up steps, and I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, where am I supposed to go? One day she says, I take 10 steps down, I get to the platform, and the door's open, and I walk in. I'm like, oh, wow. So that night, I came home, and in the morning, I used to always do it in the morning. I took 10 steps down. I stood on I breathed. You breathe. You have deep breathing. You ground yourself always before you start. I stepped on the platform, and to me, it was a silver, it still is, a silver, like a elevator door. The door opens. I step in, it closes behind me, and it is totally, the feeling is not physical. I know I'm physical in that room with them, but it is, it's not lightheaded, nothing like that. It's just a different lightness. I guess that's the best way, because that you're a human being on planet Earth, but when I'm in there, I don't feel solid.
Right.
And as soon as I walk in, my guides greet me. They're always excited to see me. Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome. And they say welcome, and they say, oh, we're so happy to have you here. And then before I go into the meditation, they know what we want to talk about.
Right.
Sometimes they say, okay, well, we need to talk about this. Sometimes they take the lead. But so this is really, to me, it's a really interesting story. I get into the room the first time. I call it a room. And I stood there. I'm like, okay. Yeah, I'm like, oh, maybe I should ask a question. I thought, okay, they're just going to start talking to me. Well, they didn't. And I thought, okay, well, maybe I should ask a question. And I said, what is my message for today? And immediately I heard a female voice, and it said, peace within. I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. That's because I'm always uptight. But I thought, okay, well, thank you. I thanked them. I turned around. The door opened. I went back. I ran up the stairs because I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do about this. But I ran up the stairs, and then I was back here. So that's how it feels to me. So, and every time I
go ahead. Every time you what?
Every time I talk with guides, it's the same thing. I don't have to do all, after you do it a few times, you can easily move into the meditative state where you're receiving this information because you're practiced and you just, you can go in and out of it. And in a day, you have to do that. You can't, it's always recommended that you don't stay in the meditative state all day long. I mean, that's where we'd all like to be, but you can't really stay in it all the time. You shouldn't.
Okay. So I have a couple of questions here. And we spoke earlier about my religious upbringing. And I think I told you, and I think how these things work on these channels, the groups that end up being attracted are people who are where you're at, maybe a step behind you, and sometimes a step or two in front of you. So this question coming up is from somebody that is asking a question that I actually had a while back, whenever I was actually still in church. She says, how do you know it's truly your guides speaking to you and not evil spirits or fallen angels?
because when you do this work, when I do this work, I have a set of rules that are absolute. And one of them is nothing evil, only good, nice, good energy is allowed, period. No, nothing else.
Right.
And when, there's a couple of different programs, I think, teach different things, different schools of thought. I think Dolores Cannon actually said you have one guardian angel with you all the time. And that's what she called him, a guardian angel.
Right.
And the one I studied, they say you have 5 guides. And what I understand is you have, from the experience I've had, you have 5 personal guides. And one of them is called the Joy Guide. And that Joy Guide is your gatekeeper. For me, it's a female. And all the other guides are male energies. But she is the one that says, that keeps, and I want one person at a time, one guide at a time. Only one, so she lets one in, they talk, they go, the next one comes in. Because if you don't have one at a time, you have just a bunch of, you don't even hear anything. It's
Right.
just a bunch of noise or whatever.
Yeah.
But so that, I call them rules of engagement, but it's the rules. You set rules, and because I will not allow anything evil to give a message.
Right.
So they don't get to.
So
and my guide keeps them from doing that.
Right. So basically it's just like with anything else, we are the boss of us, basically.
Yeah.
And our space is our house. And if we say no, they can't come. So if we say, I think it was Crafty is saying here that when she meditates, she was even scared to meditate at one time. Oh, she is scared, even though she puts white light all around her. So, but she's still scared. Yes, Judy, that's what scares me, even to meditate. So some people do have fear with meditation, because I think, like, when we go into that theta state, we truly are like no longer in control. We're I think you said it earlier when we were talking, it's like you go, that thinking mind goes away. And so you're just in a place to receive. So that's kind of scary for some people, right? But
I think so, yeah, because you're vulnerable.
Say that again.
I think I understand that, because you're vulnerable at that point.
Right. So it's a matter of trusting. It's a matter of trusting your creator, or whoever it is that you work with when you pray, and then trusting them to only allow the good people to come in, because that's all you want, is the good guides, the good angels.
Yeah, you get, before you go and put yourself in the white light, you set your rules, and those rules have to be set, always adhered to, and then you're protected. Right. It's not willy-nilly any longer. It's absolute because you've set those rules. You set the rules, you put the white light around you, and you should have confidence that your guides will not, your God, your universal energy, whatever it is, the angels, they will protect you because of your rules.
Right.
You don't get to, nothing gets to get in unless, do no harm. You're not coming in because I don't want to hear it,
Right.
Because other people, but also the other thing to remember is that I have no judgment on any question. And I don't have any opinions when it comes to when I do a reading or writing for a client. I don't, but there are times when I'm writing and I'm just going along, and they say something about, let's say they say something about God, and I stop, even though I'm not completely conscious or whatever. In today, my part of my brain says, well, that might make them mad, or they may not understand that. And I have to say, well, it doesn't matter. The guides are telling me something, and I am writing it down.
Right.
And in the process, there's nothing that's embellished. It's told the way it's given. And so that's why I don't fear it, because I have my rules, and you have to set rules. You have to ground yourself. You have to set rules.
Right.
And then you just have to trust that you are protected. And
right.
you are. I mean, and then you start hearing, but you have to hear. You know, you can be there. And I didn't think about asking a question until I thought of asking a question, you know. But as soon as I asked that question, I got an answer, and I left and ran up the stairs because, I don't know, I'm like, I can't believe this worked, you know.
Right, right. So okay, this is what I want to tell you, because this actually is quite a bit more in depth, and there's a little more. Carrie, so funny. Carrie says, "Hear no evil, see no evil, do no evil, speak no evil." It's like if you worry, if you fear something, it's going to come upon you. But if you don't fear it, if you trust the spirit, your ultimate, whoever it is that you work with, and trust that the guides that they have put in your space, it's about trusting, you know, because evil happens in churches and on street corners and everywhere. People pray demons out of people all the time. But I think when you allow that to be part of your life, like it's a possibility that it can happen, then possibly it could happen. For me, it's like not even an issue, not even I don't even go there. Like I don't allow that to go there, because I trust that it's true, that the creator who created me loves me and ultimately wants to protect me. And if I choose to fear and allow something fearful in my life, he's going to let me do that too, because he's letting me learn. But I am talking way too much. This was supposed to be about you, and we only have 5 minutes left. So this is what I want to ask you, because there's more questions that came in. Would you come back? And would you work on your video before we do this again? Because
yes, I would love to do both.
I'm the only person.
The video is definitely working.
Yeah, I'm the only person showing up on the screen on YouTube, so it kind of looks like I'm talking to myself. But
well, it dropped quite a while ago. It just dropped. Everything turned off. Like whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay.
But the thing that I want to make sure everybody understands is really, really important. When I am connecting with anybody's guide, they are caring. They're like, they put the fingers down. You're like putting their foot down. Some of them are because of what message they're giving, but they're loving. They love their person, and they so much want to have them see the signs that they're giving you, and hear the message that they're sending to a bird or through leaves, anything, a bug. They are sending you messages, and they so much want you to see them, hear them, acknowledge them, that it's never fearful. It's just very joy-filled, and their message is always, 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 we're going through a vibrational change.
Right.
You have to stay in a love vibration. You have to stay in a joy vibration, and you have to have harmony. And so how can you be, that's not fearful. There's nothing scary about that, and there's no reason to either. But that is how it sounds. It's just very intimate, because it's their guide, and they'll talk to me, then all of a sudden they switch over, and then they're talking to their person, So
the reason that, and I'm not speaking for, and we're going to have to wrap this up. I'm not speaking for Judy or Crafty, but whenever you come out of church, one of the things they tell you is, don't trust those those feelings in your gut. Don't trust those small voices, because you could be fooled by unfamiliar spirits, and Satan will imitate the light to fool you and get to you. You know, there's all kinds of stuff out there whenever you're coming into this type of journey from that. You know, all those little things keep ringing true. So I understand the fear. But I do want to have you back, because you will be able to speak more to the reality of it. And like you were just saying, the most important thing is that it is love and it is joy. But we have 2 minutes. So somebody's asking about a website. I know you don't have a website. We talked about that. Can they email you?
Yes.
Okay. So, and they will be able to email you at, can you go ahead and tell them the address?
Yeah. It's called Salon the Spiritual, and I'll spell it for you. And it's at Gmail. So it's SALONSPIRITUAL. Salon Le Spiritual.
Yes. Okay.
At gmail.com.
Right. And I'll have that in the description for the replay. The replay is going to come up automatically. I won't be able to get back to the description until after I do this other reading. It may actually be in the morning, but you guys check back. And I'm sorry that I had to cut it short tonight. Theresa, thank you so much. And you did say you will come back on, right?
I would love to.
One more question, and it has to be just a really quick answer. Did you study with Dolores Cannon, or with that Dolores Cannon training session group?
He had passed away just before I took it. I took her online class.
Right. Okay. So you did it online.
Okay. They had developed it before he died, but
okay.
She died. So.
Okay. All right. I love you guys. Thank y'all so much for being a part of the Spirit Mail community. I am so excited that y'all showed up tonight. Thank you for being so generous and with your patience about our technical stuff. And Theresa is going to come and see us again. So until then, everybody go out and have a super duper day, and I will see y'all later. Bye.